Now all speakers are ready and we will be preparing for live streaming. It will start at 2. Swadika, Mingalabashi. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to public seminar on 5 years coup in Myanmar. Myanmar in the midst of geopolitics, and today we are at the Subaltern meeting room at Faculty of Social Science, RCSD. And thank you very much for RCSD to host us today. And today we have 4 speakers with us and 1 speaker online. We having live streaming on 3 pages in 3 languages: Pracha Thai English, Learner in Thai, and Burma Concern in Burmese. And our program will start at 2 until 4 for seminar, and at 4 to 5:30 we will have the art performances by Myanmar youth on the ground space out there. So please stay with us. And now I would like to invite our speakers. And today, unfortunately, Ajaan Chayan, he has a therapist appointment, and he say apologize for everyone and thank you everyone for joining us. And we really wishing him for the good health. And for the first, we have the video clip about 5 years coup, about 12 minutes. And then we would like to share to all of you. For the translation, the people in the room, we have the translation device. For the English is number 1, for Thai is number 2, and for Burmese is number 3. And the speaker in online will be Burmese. So if you don't understand Burmese, please have translation devices with you. Okay, I think now the video clip is ready.
the whole world should remember. Not because it's the day that Min Aung Hlaing started the illegal coup attempt, but we should remember that it's been 5 years since the peoples of Myanmar has stood up against the military. And it's, in my understanding, in my knowledge, it's the longest in modern history whereby the people have resisted.
Now is the time to stand in solidarity with the long-suffering people of Myanmar.
Since the illegal coup attempt of 2021, the military has unleashed a campaign of terror. Yet, amid the horror, the courage of the people remains unbroken.
For the past 5 years, the people of Burma, Myanmar have bravely resisted an illegal and violent military junta. On 1st February 2021, the military attempted a coup to prevent elected members of parliament from convening parliament.
As Friday dawned in Myanmar, so did news of the latest high-profile arrest.
Civilians protested all around the country. The military led by junta boss Myanmar Hlaing reacted with mass killings and mass arrests. The junta has killed over 16,000 civilians in 324 out of 330 townships. Within 5 years, there were over 62,000 armed clashes and attacks on civilians. More than 3.5 million people have become internally displaced persons. The junta bombed homes, IDP camps, schools, hospitals, and places of worship in over 6,000 airstrikes on 188 townships. The attacks continue. The junta has arrested over 30,000 men, women, and children. It sentenced 173 to death. All political prisoners have been tortured and subjected to cruel living conditions. The junta has lost control of over half the country. To strengthen itself, the junta has forcibly conscripted 200,000 young men and women in just 2 years since February 2024. It plans more forced conscriptions in 2026. More youth are fleeing the country.
Earthquakes are not uncommon
The 7.7
in Myanmar.
magnitude earthquake occurred at 12:50
1,000
local
people are
time
known
on
to have
Friday.
died so far across Myanmar.
During 2025, the junta blocked life-saving aid to earthquake victims, paranoid that supplies might reach the hands of their resistance.
这边钱我落下来的，我依家跑路没下来就，我都飙过有的。我如果来这里给的一礼拜的就了，这边龙你片的下就了，我路的呢我们有了。
The armed forces should have been a vital resource, but are more of a hindrance than a help.
This calculated cruelty resulted in the deaths of more than 5,000 people. This is part of an ongoing blockade to starve people in resistant areas. Military violence has destroyed social and economic infrastructure. The junta has used the country's workforce, surveillance technology, weapons, and ammunition to wage war against civilians. The economy has plummeted. Food prices have skyrocketed. The price of rice is nearly 350% higher. The Myanmar jet lost 60% of its value. The junta has allowed the spread of scam centers.
Behind these walls, more than 120,000 people are forced to
These
scam.
criminal enterprises have become an essential part of the country's conflict economy since 2021.
3 phases of the election.
Elections to be held.
Election fraud.
China in particular has been very supportive of the Tatmadaws' move to organize
It's a
elections.
fake election. And after the fake election, the results, they will declare a winner. And that winner will be a fraud winner. It would be a fraud.
China-backed Sham Election was a desperate political exit strategy for the junta, but its violence and exclusion made the situation worse. During the fake election, the junta launched over 1,000 armed attacks, including airstrikes on civilians. The junta banned a party that won 90% of seats in 2020. More than 7.5 million voters who were in 67 townships banned from voting. In the rest of the country, most voters boycotted this fraudulent move despite violence and intimidation. Meanwhile, the struggle for justice continues.
It is about real people, real stories, and real group of human beings, the Rohingya of Myanmar. They have been targeted for destruction.
The ICJ began hearings on the Rohingya genocide, while the pursuit of justice in other courts continues despite the junta lies and intimidation. The women of Burma, Myanmar have always been the heartbeat of the revolution despite their harsh daily reality. Since 2021, there have been over 550 reported cases of conflict-related sexual violence against women in Burma. Most cases are not reported. Over 2,000 have been killed in the struggle. Despite this, the resistance has forged ahead. local communities have set up their governance and services, the resistance has taken important steps to establish a federal state that is based on human rights and democracy. In Karenni state, revolutionary state government has 30% women leadership in the executive, administrative, and judicial bodies. After 5 years of pain and struggle, people of Burma, Myanmar still refuse to give up. The vision of a democratic federal nation is a reality being forged in blood, sweat, and tears. The junta's terror tactics and its vast array of weapons cannot kill the revolutionary spirit of the people. Support their quest, cut weapons, technology, and revenue to the junta, boycott the results of the fake election and the junta's fake institutions.
Of Myanmar. So I think it's very good start for us to cheer us up after 5 years, and you keep hoping and stay solidarity with each other. And please me welcome you again to the public seminar on the 5 years coup in Myanmar, Myanmar in the midst of geopolitics. Today we have 5 speakers with us. The first, please welcome Khin Ohnmar, our long-standing Myanmar leader. And she will speak today about overview of Myanmar after the Sham election. And the second one we have Tarasaw Eh Htee Kaw. He's a representative from current youth organization KYO. He will be online. And the third one we have Sayama Maw Poe Myar. She is representative from Interim Executive Council of Karenni or IEC-Karenni. And the fourth one we have our Debbie Stothard from ALTSEAN-Burma, and thank you for a long flight today to Chiang Mai. And last but not least, we have Ajaan who also our Thai friend who has been also standing with Myanmar, and today will also join us to speak about the Thai situation. And so please let me invite Khin Ohnmar to speak first about the overview of Myanmar after Sham election. For the first round, we have 10 to 12 minutes, no? And then after that, we have 5 minutes for the second round, and we will also open for the audiences for question and answers. Please.
Thank you. Thanks, A, for again organizing this event. Thanks to Chiang Mai University, RCSD, and Ajaan Chayan for always providing us the space, safe space for the people of Myanmar to always come and share their experiences and the concerns that they face in the country. So it's been always very fortunate for us to have this safe space that Ajaan Chayan will always provide us. Well, today actually, people, of course, some will label as the 5th anniversary of the military coup, or the military's attempted coup, or military's failed coup. For those of us who are advocates, we use the word failed coup or attempted coup. The very reason we use this because, like Professor Yang Hee Lee, who used to be the special rapporteur for human rights situation in Myanmar from United Nations, like what she just said in the documentary, she has never seen a country's people taken that long for like 5 years resisting unprecedented violent military in 5 years. I think that people's resistance and resilience is something that we need to celebrate and recognize more than while we talk about how the military is actually doing what they always know the best, which is the violence. So today we are actually, while we pay tribute to all the heroes of the Spring Revolution, the young people, and the other intergenerational activists and leaders who already sacrificed in the past 5 years for the freedom of our country, we are also celebrating their resilience and their determination and resistance that continue to be very strong and firm, no matter where they are. So with that, here we are to share with you of where things are now. So let me just start by saying that the very sham election stage managed by the military junta in 3 phases, starting from December 28, finishing on January 25, of course, is finally over. Thank goodness. 3 phases only. I mean, I can imagine if they will extend another 2 phases, and then what are we going to do? I was even thinking we knew the result already, which the result was already predetermined, already long ago. Why do they have to go to 1, 2, 3 phases? Perhaps even whether they will extend even 2 more or something. But finally, it is over. It's good because now the whole world can comfortably and confidently say and call the spade a spade, which is this meticulously stage-managed so-called election is nothing but a sham election. And we will see that if you really look carefully from the start to finish, this military junta, which is illegal, by the way, has systematically hijacked and weaponized the entire electoral system, desperately tried to manufacture the legitimacy through coercion, fear, and other means and kinds of tactics, mostly threat, intimidation, and that is what the people had to face from December all the way to just as recently as a week ago. The result was predetermined all along, as I was said. So there's nothing new, really, absolutely nothing new to expect in this. We know that the military's political party, the Union Solidarity and Development Party, is claiming the victory. Even from the end of the first phase, they were already claiming the victory. And then, of course, people quietly laughed and loudly laughed, saying that, of course, we know you guys are going to do that. But then, what we are going to see as we move on from February 1 of 2026, of course, in next 2 months, we are going to see the Myanmar military and their political party, USDP, forming the sham parliament. They will convene the sham parliament, which will then form a sham government. That's exactly what we're going to see. People ask me in the last few weeks in particular, is Maw Poe Myar going to become the president? And then what do we think? Of course, he wants to become the president, and that is how he started this whole coup attempt 5 years ago. And does he have any future other than that he can or he want to fit in? Of course not. His current age is already retire for a commander-in-chief according to their own constitution. And if he's not going to be the president, who else is going to be? Well, I'm sure we see already that he is comfortably wearing the civilian uniform or civilian clothes and smiling and meeting and greeting the international allies, the authoritarians from, countries like Belarus, Russia, China, and India. So this process of manipulation and weaponization, I have to say this is something we should take a note, because Myanmar is not new at all to fraud or fraudulent election. Yeah? Because in the country's history, we never really had a real free and fair election, except like in 2015, 2020, when National League for Democracy won landslide. But other than that, under the previous military regimes, this country never had the real free, fair, and credible election anyway. But we have to really take a note that this most recent so-called election by Maw Poe Myar's junta, it's actually the most unprecedented level of fraud in Myanmar's history ever, let alone falling well below the international standards of any election that can be called as free, fair, or credible. Yeah. So what I say is the results, let's call them old wine in the old bottle. In 2010, some of us who've been the long-term human rights activists, democracy activists from outside the country, after the 2010 result came out, of course the USDP declared the victory. We said, aha, old wine, but in the new bottle, because it is a new name, huh? But now, let's just remember, it's still the same USDP. So it is an old wine in an old bottle. Okay, so in that case, I think we need to see like how they stage manage or weaponize the electoral systems, particularly weaponizing the laws, which is a severe punishment that is targeting any critics who are making any criticism against this sham election. So we have to know now that behind the bar there are actually 404, at least 404 people. 80 among 404, 80 people are women, and these one have been arrested, and they are facing charges, and some are at the moment as we speak are being squeezed. Their families are being squeezed out of money, like a really huge amount of money, if they want their loved ones to be released. But then can they be released after paying a huge bribe to the authorities? Well, that is no guarantee. Yeah. So I think this is something we need to keep watching, as we all keep watching what's happening on the ground in Burma. But of course, the other thing is, Maw Poe Myar said, like, oh, we don't have to care about what the international thinks. Whatever international is saying about their sham election, it doesn't matter, right? But at the same time, when he's saying that, what we saw is they are actually increasing the attacks on the civilians. The attacks against the civilian, particularly through the area bombing and ground attacks, particularly come back to be more intensified, starting by 2025 Sagai earthquake. But it became even more severe. It's pretty much a month before the sham election first phase took place, which is like by end of November. Like my organization, Progressive Voice, we are a human rights research and advocacy organization. But even as a research and advocacy organization, we see there is a huge gap for the humanitarian need of our people who had to flee from all these militaries, violence, and atrocities. The international donors and international agencies cannot fill in the gap because they can only deliver the aid if only the junta will allow them. But why will junta allow them when they are the one who created such human catastrophe, right? So in that case, including our organizations like us as a Progressive Voice and with our frontline humanitarian partners, we've been providing humanitarian aid to those who had to flee from not only from the fightings, not only from the airstrikes and paragliders attacks, but also the ground attacks. There's been increased artillery shelling, and all of this is a part of the military's sham election strategy because they want to increase their constituency to show the world with the hope whether they could still deceive the world, if they could still deceive the world to gain the legitimacy. But of course, everything is falsified because at the end of the third phase, if you look at and listen, you will hear from the ASEAN saying they're not accepting this Sham election. If you listen to the European Union saying the same thing, if you listen to the Japanese government saying the same thing. So we're hearing from different international communities, basically, nobody is fooled. Of course, nobody should be fooled at all, but nobody except probably China, Russia, Belarus, and India, right? But China, Russia, Belarus, and India, including like Vietnam, would like to be fooled because there is so much stake for them, their interest. But if the whole world, who are actually on the right side, calling the spade as a spade, which is the Sham election, I think even China and Russia will not dare to just, bring the Sham government led by Maw Poe, the world criminal, onto the world stage to seize the legitimacy of the sovereign state of Myanmar. With that, I will end my first round. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Khin Ohnmar. And next, I would like to invite Tara Saw Eh Htee Kaw from online. Tara, are you ready? He will speak online.
ဟုတ်မင်္ဂလာပါကြားရလားမသိဆက်စမတို့
Okay, please let me check for the people who he will speak in Burmese. So you need the device. Okay. Ready, no? Okay, please, Tara. Thank you.
ဟုတ်ကျွန်တော် screen share လိုက်မယ်နော်အဆင်ပြေလား
ပြေးတဲ့ဆရာကြီး share ပါရှင့်
Okay ဟုတ်အားလုံးပဲမင်္ဂလာပါဗောနော်ဟုတ်ဆိုတော့ရတဲ့အချိန်လေးမှာကျွန်တော်ပြင်ဆင်ထားတဲ့ဖော်ပွဲလေးနဲ့ကျွန်တော်sharing လုပ်ချင်ပါတယ်လို့ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီအကြောင်းအရာမပြောခင်မှာဗောနော်ကျွန်တော်ဖွဲ့စည်းအကြောင်းလေးတွေလည်းကျွန်တော်နည်းနည်းလေး background လေးနည်းနည်းမိတ်ဆက်ချင်တယ်ဗောနော်ကျွန်တော်K1 ကတော့လူသိနေပါလိမ့်မယ်ဗောနော်ဆိုတော့ဒီပုံမှာတော့နည်းနည်းလေးK1 အကြောင်းနည်းနည်းလေးပြောပြပေးချင်ပါတယ်ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒါK1နောက်ခံသမိုင်းဗောနော်ကျွန်တော်တို့K1ကတော့ဟို
We founded our organization in 1945 in Rangoon. It was the first time of our founding our organization. And on February 1947, the KNU was founded, and along with these Karen Union forces, KYO was part of the Karen ally forces as well. And we didn't have much activities at the time. And in 1989, May 23rd, we refounded this Karen organization in Maw. So I would say it would be around 37 years in this coming May. So these are our objectives of our organization. We have two main objectives: to nurture and develop patriotic youth leaders for the national democratic revolution, and to actively and collectively support the implementation of the guidelines, principles, and strategic programs set forth by the Karen National Union. So these are our activities. These are our implementing activities. In our Karen Youth organization, we have summer youth camps and training programs. Mainly we train the Karen youth for human rights, democracy, and federal educations, and also youth leadership programs, and also youth dialogue and exchange programs, seminar for youth, and also environmental conservation and protection activities, and also working in cooperation with other ethnic groups for national equality and the right to self-determination. And we are coordinating together with our other 11 organizations to work together. And we are also part of that coordination group to work further on assisting our beloved community. So after the coup in 2021, every segment, they were legitimizing themselves to still govern the whole country. But of course, like Siyama has also mentioned, we are doing as much as we can to fight against the military power seizure, and we have been participating in this movement, in this revolution, to go against this Sham election, and after releasing the statements, like we do totally go against this kind of brutal acts and stuff. And also, from our perspective, how we see this Sham election is a way that the military will maintain their governance and their control after they legitimize themselves internally and also in the international stage, on an international stage. That is why the military will have to finish this election, and we know that they will try their best to make this happen. And as a youth organization, we totally go against that, and we also see this as an important task of our organization. So these graphs you're seeing here, this is how we are implementing our anti-sham election campaigns throughout the different townships. And based on the 2008 Constitution, the military is trying their best to legitimize themselves again after the coup, and also after receiving the people's vote in this election. They can make it happen to successfully conclude this Sham election and will announce that they found the new government, and that is why we're just going against as a youth organization, because we know their moves. So this is some of the data after the 2021 coup. Especially in our controlled area, these are the data of townships and the areas that we could control after the intercourse with the military troops. If I'm not mistaken, it was in March, and we could see some of the troops along the Thai-Myanmar border, the troops of military junta, and they became one of our controlled areas as well. And we feel like we should be able to solve this problem in a political table. But of course, in order to go there, we need to take up the armed so that we can balance the power, and then we can go to we can deal with them. But yeah, along these border areas, there are a lot of intercourse happening there, and along the Taoying River, we could say that we could take control of this area, and we have already removed the military troops in that area. So our organization, KNU, KNLA, and also our allied organizations and other troops, We are working together to participate, to take hands of each other and then fight against the military junta with the powers of youth. So these are, and also we could see that we have more control area after the coup that we could take control of as well. So of course, yeah, in the ethnic areas, there are a lot of conflicts. There are a lot of intercourse among these armed groups. And unless we take down the system, the strong system will just be stuck in the system and will never get out of it. And also, as we all know, there are a lot of IDP camps and displaced community along the Thai Myanmar border, and we'll have to keep supporting them unless we take down the system from the root. And also, as mentioned, there are a lot of IDPs and also the refugees, and the total number of these IDP communities are around 1.2 million population. And in order to support them, in order to deliver the humanitarian assistances, we need a lot of support. We need a lot of strong solidarity from everyone as well, because we are in dire need of such assistances after the military coup. And as Yama mentioned, the military is trying their best to maintain their power seizure. That is why they are attacking, they are doing the airstrikes, especially to our ethnic areas, without any mercy to our Karen communities and Karen ethnic groups. And they are trying their best to violate the human rights and to attack the civilians. And they are doing those every day since they have staged the coup. These are total and obvious points of human rights violation. And also, right now, I'm doing this presentation, and I do believe that this military would be bombing somewhere with the use of airstrikes. I do believe that. So this is one of my analysis. And I see this is one of the main factor of human rights violation that we could see as a pattern after the coup. So this is the situation in Kotule territory after 2021. As we all know, there are a lot of those joining the CDM movement after the coup, and we are hosting a lot of them for accessing the education in our KCD, in our education department. And some of the other youths who refuse to accept the education provided by the military, they come to our territory and we host them so that they could access to the education. And we as KCD have already released some of the data and report as well. And also after the coup, we are also focusing on the primary health of our ethnic population, along with the support to the educational programs as much as it requires. And also, in order to build the federal democracy and also the Kotule territory, we are committed to coming up with a federal bottom-up federal approach. And Kotule, as one of the federal units in this state, And also the KYO or the Korean Youth Alliances support this kind of federal democratic development in ways we can. So these are what we commit to contribute in this revolution. And also in this political movement, we are serving our best as one of the youth groups and also participating in this Federal Democratic Union formation and also participating as much as we can in the Federal Charter development as well. And after that, we as current youth see that there are a lot of other ethnic groups in Myanmar residing in this country. And all of us are under the military boots of the military junta. So in this federal democracy formation process, we truly know that we cannot be just the one who escape. Everyone should escape from this oppressive system so that we liberate, all of us liberate at the same time. And in order to do so, we need to take each other's hand so that we can take down this military junta, this dictatorship from the root. Only if we can do so, we'll get to the goal of nation building. So we cannot just be in an infinite cycle of fighting in the conflicts and then we take a break and then fight again. No, we cannot just go this way. So that is why we as a youth organization, we are actively taking hands, we are actively collaborating together with others so that we can fight against this military junta. And then willingly, actively and strategically take a step forward to take down these military dictators. So for the federal democratic country, we cannot just be the only one that escaped. We need everyone. We need to be liberated as a whole group. So this will be the end of my presentation. And thank you very much.
Current state, particularly the participation of the current youth, and yes, with the aim of the federal state and democracy. And next we have the representative from famous IEC, the Interim Executive Council. We have Sayama Maw Poe Myar, and please sharing with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for the organizer that invite me and invite IEC to be represented here. I'm really honored to be represented here and participate in this kind of public seminar for the 5-year coup in Myanmar. So please allow me to speak in Burmese for my presentation, for my conveniences. And I prepare my presentation actually in English, but I would like to speak in Burmese. So, kana ubano the event go bono organize lo jare to along go jesu myai tin lo chma ni ne ro kana u pyo ja lo bare chma ro di Karenni pi autchou yi jakala autchou yi council ye ko za pyo ne ne ba no chma ko di ne event ma la ya bro ma di aku ba no di စစ်အာဏာသိမ်း 9နှစ်ပြည့်ရဲ့ဒီ public seminar မှာဖိတ်ကြားပြီးတော့မှစကားပြောခွင့်ပေးတဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်မလို့အရင်ကျေးဇူးတင်တယ်ဆိုတဲ့အကြောင်းလဲပြောလိုပါတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ကျမကတော့ဒီမှာပေါ့နော်အရင်ဆုံးကတော့ကျမရဲ့ presentation ကတော့စထားတဲ့ဟာနမူနာပဲယူထားတဲ့ဟာလေးဖြစ်ပါတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ကျမတို့စစ်အာဏာသိမ်းသွားတာဒီနေ့နဲ့ဆိုရင်ဒါ9နှစ်တင်ပြည့်ပြီပေါ့နော်လွန်ခဲ့သော9နှစ်မှာဒီလိုနေ့ဒီလိုအချိန်တွေမှာပေါ့နော်ကျမတို့ဒီမြန်မာပြည်မှာရှိတဲ့ပြည်သူတွေအနေနဲ့ကတကယ်ကိုရုတ်တရက်ပေါ့နော်ဘယ်လိုပြောမလဲမျောလင်းချက်တွေပြတ်သုံးသွားတဲ့နေ့လို့ပဲကျမတို့ခံယူရပေါ့နော်ပြီးတော့မှကျမတို့အနေနဲ့ကဘလို့မှဒီလက်ခံလို့မရတဲ့ဒီအာဏာသိမ်းတဲ့အာဏာသိမ်းမှုပေါ့နော်ဒီအကြမ်းဖက်စစ်အုပ်စုရဲ့အာဏာသိမ်းမှုကသူတို့လှုပ်ဆောင်ခဲ့တာကတော့ဒီနေ့နဲ့ဆိုရင်9နှစ်တင်ပြစ်ခဲ့ပြီဆိုတော့ကျမအနေနဲ့ဒီမှာပြထားတဲ့ဒီပုံလေးကတော့အားလုံးလည်းသိပြီးသားပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါကတော့သူတို့ရဲ့ဒီ official page မှာဒီ election ရလဒ်ပေါ့နော်phase 2ပြီးနောက်ပိုင်းမှာကြော်ညာထားတဲ့ရလဒ်ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်တီးပြီးသားပုံလည်းဖြစ်တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ကျမအနေနဲ့နည်းနည်းပြန် highlight လုပ်ပြချင်တာလည်းဖြစ်တယ်ခုနကတော့ဆရာမခင်မှာတော့အများကြီးဒီအရာနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးမှပြောသွားတာတွေတော့ရှိပြီပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ဒီအဖြေကတော့ကျမတို့အတွက်ဖွဲ့ရလဲမဟုတ်ဘူးဒီအကြမ်းဖက်စစ်အုပ်စုအနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဒီအာဏာသိမ်းsorry ရွေးကောက်ပွဲကိုဖော်ဆောင်မယ်လို့စတင်ပြီးတော့မှကြော်ညာတဲ့အချိန်ကနေစပြီးတော့မှလူတိုင်းကခံမှန်းမိပြီးသားအဖြေပဲဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့တကယ်တမ်းလဲသူတို့တရားဝင်ကြော်ညာရလက်ကိုကြော်ညာလိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာလဲဒါကတရားဝင်ဘယ်သူနိုင်သွားလဲဆိုတဲ့ဟာကကျမတို့ကြိုတင်ခံမှန်းထားတဲ့အတိုင်းပဲအားလုံးဖြစ်ခဲ့တာဖြစ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါကြောင့်မလို့ကျမတို့အနေနဲ့ကျမတယောက်အနေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဒါမြန်မာပြည်ရဲ့ပြည်သူတယောက်အနေနဲ့တော့၎င်းအခုလက်ရှိမှာတော့ဒီတော်လှန်ရေးအင်အားစုထဲမှာပေါ့နော်တစ်ဖက်တစ်လမ်းအနေပါဝင်နေတဲ့သူတယောက်အနေနဲ့တော့၎င်းဒီအကြမ်းဖက်စစ်အာဏာရှင်ရဲ့ဒီရွေးကောက်ပွဲဟာဘလို့မှကျမတို့အတွက်တရားဝင်မှုမရှိပါဘူးပြီးတော့မှဘလို့မှပွင့်လင်းမြင်သာမှုရှိတဲ့ရွေးကောက်ပွဲလို့ကျမတို့ကခံယူလို့မရဘူးဆိုတဲ့ဟာကိုလည်းကျမဒီမှာထပ်လောင်းရင်းနဲ့ဒီကနဦးအနေနဲ့ပြောကြားလိုပါတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ကျမတို့ကတော့ဒီဥစ္စာကိုကျမတို့ကိုဒီ Sham Election ကိုကျမတို့ကတော့လုံးဝမလက်ခံဘူးဆိုတဲ့ဟာပေါ့နော်ဒါကလည်းဒီလွန်ခဲ့တဲ့အော်တိုဘာလ17ရက်နေ့မှာ2025ခုနှစ်မှာပေါ့နော်ထုတ်ပြန်ခဲ့တဲ့ statement တစ်ခုလည်းရှိခဲ့တယ်အဲ့ဒီ statement မှာကတော့ဒီ ASEAN မြန်မာအရေးသက်ဆိုင်တဲ့သူအားလုံးပါဝင်တဲ့အစည်းအဝေးမှာပေါ့နော်ဒီအစည်းအဝေးမှာကလည်းဘုံတဘောတူညီချက်9ရက်ကိုအကောင့်ထဲဖော်ဆောင်ခြင်းဒီမိုကရေစီထိန်းသိမ်းခြင်းနဲ့စစ်တပ်ရဲ့အတူရောင်ရွေးကောက်ပွဲတွေကိုပေါ့နော်ပယ်ချခြင်းဆိုတဲ့ထုတ်ပြန်ကြေညာချက်တွေမှာလည်းဒီကရဏီဂျာကာလာအုပ်ချုပ်ရေးကောင်စီအနေနဲ့တော့၎င်းKNPP အနေနဲ့တော့၎င်းပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒီမှာပူတွဲပြီးတော့မှကျမတို့လက်မှတ်ရေးထိုးထားတဲ့ဟိုဟာလေးရှိခဲ့ပါတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ဘလို့ပဲဟိုဒီလိုမျိုးပေါ့နော်ကျမတို့စစ်အာဏာရှင်ကဒီ9နှစ်အတော်အတွင်းမှာကျမတို့တိုက်ခိုက်
So military junta has been attacking us throughout this whole 5 year on the ground and also politically and everywhere, every time. And incurringly, throughout this whole 5 years, we are trying our best. We have been trying our best to build up this federal democratic system in our Karenni state. I would say that it is a success of our hard work that pays off. And I would like to share some of the facts with you here, some of our achievements here. Sorry, I'd forget to make changes on the slide. So this is what we have done so far throughout this 5 years, and I'd like to highlight some of these achievements, especially in terms of institution-wise. So in April 2021. We established the KCC, which were obvious in this, as everyone knows, and it was one of our major achievements. There, we have representatives from the women groups, the political actors, the CDM MPs and also the resistant forces that were formed after the 2021. So all of us combined, we could establish these sort of we could have drafted some of these guidelines. And also in 2021, after the coup, there were a lot of we started having a lot of PDFs and also other armed groups as well. And we try our best to integrate every forces to which later became the Karenni National Defense Forces in 2021. That was also one of our major achievements as well. And in 2023 January, we could ratify our arrangements and we could announce to the public. And in 2023, the IEC was established. And in 2023 August, we could establish the Karenni State Interim Parliament and also the Karenni State Interim Judiciary System as well. And also in 2024 November, we could establish the Joint Chief of Staff in our Karenni state as well. So especially we prioritize just to have only one combined troop, one combined resistant force in one state. And also in June 2025, we established the Karenni State Development Fund to deliver the necessary aids and also to support those who are working on the ground, to support financially to those who are working on the ground. So these are some of the organizations which play the significant roles in running our Karenni state governance. And also, we are trying our best to coordinate among these organizations and councils. So I think most of you would have seen this. This is something under the leadership of KSCC that we are having the LOTOR, the parliament, the judiciary system, and also the legislative systems. So these are what we are implementing in our Karenni state. And in our Karenni IEC Council, on June 6, we announced that we have established this council with including the 6 steering committee members. And all of these 6 esteemed individuals came from diverse backgrounds and come together to come up with a strategic governance in Karenni state. And we also have a political roadmap for forming the governance in our Karenni state. This is just a tentative plan for this interim period. And we try our best to provide these services within our state. And while we are guided by the interim arrangements. So we mainly prioritize in protecting the civilian lives and properties and also their fair welfare, and also to have a strong coordination with other federal units and committees, and also to have a strong standing as one of the federal units that practically implement this bottom-up federal democratic charter. So these are some of our IEC's main doings. Yeah. So as an interim council, this is our structure. What you're seeing on the screen is the structure of our interim council. So we have 12 departments throughout our the whole state. We have health, humanitarian, and education departments, and also we have some departments for women and children, and also to be governed with the rule of law, and also some departments for agriculture, trading, and we are preparing that we have everything ready in hand when we integrate with others as well. So in IEC, I would proudly say that we have 35% of women participation. And also in our arrangement, we have announced that we should have at least 30% women participation, especially in the decision-making level, in the leadership level. But in particular, what we are having is 27% of women participation in leadership and decision-making level. But we are enforcing that everyone takes into consideration to have the full 30% participation, women participation. So basically, this is what we are having, as I've mentioned, that we have 12 departments throughout the whole statements, and we have the local administrative councils in 17 townships. And these are elected, some of these representative and leaders are elected by the local election process. Because we have developed the election guidelines that the local community members will elect their leaders, and also from the local level to the township and to the district level. So what you're seeing on the screen are some of the photos that we are having the election. And also allow me to share one of our key achievements as well. So especially after this 5-year of failed coup in Myanmar, we are proud to say that we are practically implementing the federal democratic political system after the coup. Of course, we are not perfect yet. But we have already started this sort of government system. And the second one, and we have the 12 states level departments within our state, all going with an inclusive leadership approach. And also we have developed some guidelines so that we can provide the health and deliver the humanitarian assistance as required by the local people. And also, we prepare the yearly budget and we propose it to the finance department and get approval from them, and then act accordingly. And in 2023 December, we could proudly say that we had a full control area along the Thai Myanmar border, meaning that we could remove every military troops. So this is one of our key achievements as well, that we could remove these military troops along the Karenni Thailand border and having a collective leadership in our controlled area. And also in 2025, we have clearly developed a framework, the township level and also the state level government and administration systems. And in local level, they are responsible for taxation and other stuff, and then they coordinate with us to work on together. And our fifth key achievement is we are practicing a good governance and good governance institutional principle that is transparent, inclusively participated and accountable. And also we publicize all of our doing, meaning that we are announcing what we are implementing. And also transparently we are reporting every 3 months or twice a year, so that all of our local communities, all of our civilians are informed about what we are doing. And also in a state level, we have a state audit body, and they have already started the auditing process for the 2024-25 fiscal year. And after the auditing process, they will publicize it to the wider audience. And under the KACC leadership, we are having, as mentioned, the 3 pillars, where we are coordinating pretty well and implementing efficiently as well. And we could establish the Karenni State Development Fund to accordingly support financially to those in need. And we always welcome the inclusive leadership and participation of everyone in our working groups. We always open door for them and we always welcome them because we are not having all of the respective parties in our group, in our working group as well. And as the Saya from the Korean state mentioned, we do agree that we cannot just be alone working toward the federal democratic union. We all have to be we all have to work together with other federal units so that we can so we elaborate it as a whole. So these are the achievements that we could succeed throughout this 5 years, but of course challenges always come in between. We have financial barriers, the human resource staff, and also technology-related operations like the airstrike and also the drone attacks from the military side. So these are the challenges that we are facing every day in our everyday life. And it is our civilians who have to be suffered from the most. So these are some sources that I referenced from the local news agency. These are some of the contents written about the casualties and tragedies caused by the airstrike conducted by the military. So looking at the dates here, once the military has announced that they were going to organize the Sham election, since then they've been targeting more on to the civilians and attacking spontaneously, with the aim of driving these people to their controlled area, to their governed area. But of course, I would proudly say that our peoples are so resilient in resisting this military junta. But very unfortunately, the militaries keep targeting to the civilian properties, to hospitals, and also schools. So in summary, throughout this whole 5 year, these are the substantial achievements that we have collectively built throughout this 5 year. Of course, the military will do what they are supposed to do, but of course, on the other hand, we have to do what we're supposed to do as well, because we have witnessed the casualties that had to be sacrificed on the ground. So we have to work for everyone here to strengthen our governance system and also other support system as well. So whatever it takes, whatever it comes, we cannot stop. We will not stop doing and building our states. So thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation.
And we have heard from 3 Myanmar presenters, and we see the overview of Myanmar after Sham election, and then the struggles and challenges in the ethnic currents. And then we'll move to the geopolitics in the world, that we have Debbie from ALTSEAN-Burma to speak about Myanmar in relations with ASEAN, China, and USA during crisis. Please, Debbie. Thank you so much.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It is an honor to be here, and thank you very much. Okay, should I use that microphone? Yeah. Is this better? Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you to the organizers for having me here. It's an honor to be on this panel with all our esteemed speakers, including our Karen Youth Organization representative online. You saw from the video, we have been very proud of the achievements of the IEC and looking at where the developments on the ground in other federal units as well. I want to share, we always boast that IEC has 30% women's participation in the leadership decision-making process at the executive, administrative, and judicial, and the executive, legislative, and judicial, and I'm really touched that you've been so transparent in saying, yes, it's supposed to be 30%, but at the moment it's 27%. But even then, last year I was having dinner with a Malaysian member of parliament, a woman who was very active in regional advocacy on Burma. And I said, hey, you know, the movement is not losing. Look at Karenni State. They got 30% women's leadership. And she looked at me and she said, What? 30%? We've been campaigning for so many years in Malaysia and we only have 12%. So, so this is something that we really need to embrace in the spirit of revolution. Revolution is not about regime change. It is about social, political, and economic transformation. And in that revolutionary spirit, I've been asked to talk about China and ASEAN, the elephants, the two big elephants in the room. And I want to say that the military junta, and whether it's wearing a suit or whether it's wearing its uniform, is not acting in the interest of ASEAN and China. And in this situation, what we are seeing is, you know, traditionally for since 1988, actually, ASEAN always followed the line of China. In fact, ASEAN traditionally used China as the excuse not to do anything. When we say, oh, you should be doing this, they say, what about China? What about China? But we call it but now we are starting to see ASEAN is getting very uncomfortable with Min Aung Hlaing's and the military junta, because it's very obvious that this junta is not acting in the interests of ASEAN. And actually, when China is focusing so dramatically on the scam centers in Burma, on the Burmese border, and the military had an amazing display of an airstrike on one of the scam centers, we actually have to remind China the scam centers are very small compared to what the military junta is doing to China. And China should be more careful of the biggest scam center called Naypyidaw. And you know, in 2023, I was talking to someone in one part of the NLD, and I said, look, NUG should be organizing an election in 2025. There are so many resourceful young people from Burma. They can probably build an app to allow people inside the country to vote. And that person looked at me and said, oh, you think like China, because China is telling Min Aung Hlaing to hold the election in 2025. And indeed, China was hoping, they know it's not a free and fair election. They don't give a shit whether it's a free and fair election. But it has to be a reasonably stage-managed election. And even Min Aung Hlaing could not deliver that. So, I'm going to put a PDF of this presentation on my Facebook page, so you don't get scared if you cannot follow all the numbers, because it's all about numbers. Now, in the past 5 years, in nearly past 5 years, there were 62,243 armed clashes and attacks on civilians. In 2025 alone, there were 11,763 attacks on civilians and armed clashes. In the past 5 years, 324 out of 330 townships in the whole country have been affected by military violence. The number of airstrikes has really increased, but also something that was never recorded before the coup started, this failed coup, is resistance also having their own airstrike using drone technology. And we have also never seen so many combatants killed. 75,000, over 75,000 killed in the past 5 years. A lot of them are from the military. So military is not used to having people shoot back at them. For so many decades, they are used to shooting people who don't fight back. So this is something that it is quite important to understand. And so when Yang Hee Lee, the former UN Special Rapporteur, says this 5 years is the longest resistance to the coup in modern history, we're not talking about Burmese history. We're talking about global, modern, recent history. No people have been able to resist a coup for this long and with not much support from the international community. And if you're looking at this, we're talking about 11,763 armed clashes in 2025 alone. These are armed clashes and attacks on civilians. In 2020, it was 1,240. For the whole year of 2020, yeah, that means we are now facing 1 month over 1,000 armed clashes compared to 1 year. The same number was 1 year, the whole year of 2020. So it's the orange numbers there. And then when we look at this sham election, we have the data only till the 23rd of January. We are waiting for ACLED to come out with the updated data that covers the whole of phase 3. But we can see there was 972 armed clashes and attacks on civilians just in the 1 month of the sham election. And at the same time, in the previous year, the same time period, was about 1,128. The reduction is only 13%. So if you think that, you know, if China is foolishly thinks that this election is going to reduce conflict, when we talk about an election to create peace, we should be looking at least 50 or even 60% reduction. But what is scary is that this reduction is not because the military is being nice. It's because they couldn't reach those areas. So they start to use more airstrike. 29% increase in airstrike during the sham election period compared to the same period the year before. But if you think that the military is so nice, they've been trying to force people under their control to vote. They've been telling people, oh, we know how many people are in your household. If you vote, maybe we won't do the forced conscription on your family. Village people were told, if you don't vote, you will be seen as opposing the election and get 3 years jail under the election protection law. And other people were told, if you want to do business in Thailand, you want to cross the border or you want to fly out of the country, you must vote for the election or else you cannot leave the country. In some military and police checkpoint, they were demanding the voter registration number. But even then, so few people turned up. They resisted. I think you saw in the video the comparison of the voting station in 2020 with 2026. But also, under this fake election, 10.5 million voters were excluded. Sorry, there's a typo there. 10.5 million voters were excluded. One of my colleagues actually used the census and calculated according to the annual growth rate. And we saw all the people aged 18 and above in 67 townships that were banned from the election. But what many people did not realize is that in the 263 townships where there was supposed to be voting, 4,000 wards and villages in those areas were also excluded. So if we look at the population, this is like more than 1/3 of the whole country was excluded. This is about 4 or 5 times the number of people who voted in the Singapore general election last year. The number of people excluded from the election was about nearly 4 times, 400% of the people who voted in whole of Singapore for their general election last year. So when I told that to May Wong, she got a shock. Now, the China and ASEAN, and in fact the international community, but definitely China, they are obsessed with political stability and economic stability. So when we look at the number of conflicts, we already know the conflict is going to get very bitter in 2026. This is the reality of the situation. China became peacekeeping force, not UN peacekeeping force, but Beijing peacekeeping force in Lashio and in Mogok. It cannot afford to be peacekeeping force in the whole country. And it does not have the leverage on many of the resistance organizations to be able to do that. Then let's look at money, because everyone is concerned about money. The Myanmar chart has lost 60% of its value within 5 years. Yeah? People, Lady Gaga, instead of having a suit made of meat, she could make a big suit made of Myanmar chart, because that's how much the chart is worth, right? So, when we think about this, we were surprised to see that during the phase 1 and phase 2 of the election, previously people said, we hope the election can improve the economy. But when we saw the value of the chart against the US dollar and the value of the chart against Thai baht during phase 1 and phase 2, we did not see a significant improvement. That means people didn't fall back in love with the economy and say, yes, now we have an election, everything is going to be great, let's do some business. People were still trying to move their money out. And the military junta is planning more forced conscription this year in 2026. This doesn't just mean more conflict. It means less workers, right? So in the past 2 years, many small and medium enterprise had problem getting workers. Their workers disappeared. The young workers ran away. They went into hiding because they don't want to be forcibly conscripted. And now we are also seeing more conscription planned, right? So this is this is quite a dangerous situation. And of course, we always like to look at the price of gold. The Thai price of gold has stabilized slightly, but the price of gold in Burma is still going up. It means that people don't feel secure, economically secure in the country. And all of you know about 2 or 3 weeks ago, these migrant workers who were supposed to travel to East Asia, Korea, Japan. It is part of a military junta to government arrangement. Everything is official. Even when they turn up at the airport, they were told, no, you have to go all the way to Naypyidaw, queue up and get another permit. So this is the military junta trying to squeeze extra and extra money out of people. They call it a tax, but in economic terms, all of these arbitrary and unjust taxes is actually extortion. What they call is taxation is extortion, right? From the Wata gate, the bamboo gate, they simply arbitrarily put a gate there and make you pay money when you pass to the to the gates to Syrian, to Tan Lin and to Lang Taya in Rangoon. You have to keep paying money for the what they call it, the maintenance of this the bridge, which is getting more and more shaky and more dirty. All of this is fake tax. It's actually extortion, right? So what we are going to see is more tax, so more fake taxes, more military extortion, more land and resource grabbing, more, and they've been shutting down and cracking down on foreign exchange counters in everywhere in the country. They don't want people to send their money overseas, right? And so we can see already this military is going to squeeze as much resources as possible out of the people and the land to wage more war. Let's talk about proportion. In 2020, the military expenditure had already increased by nearly 300% since 2010, within 10 years. At that time, it stood around 0.3 billion. Yeah, it's like 300 million US dollars, 0.3 billion. Last year, it was estimated that military spending increased to $5 billion. $5 billion. So it has been it's been around a 15% increase in military spending since the failed coup started. That's why the military is going to squeeze as much money as possible. Yeah. So when we look at that and we look, I remember Dr. Mincho, Dr. Taunton, Khin Ohnmar and me and other friends here, we were campaigning for the immediate and unconditional release of political prisoners back in 2010, the last time we had a sham election. That was 3,000. In this past 5 years, 30,000 people have become political prisoners. Okay, so if I was sorry, yeah, that's the end. I'm sorry, I didn't say next, but thank you for keeping up. But what I wanted to say is that if I was China, I would be very, very worried about the scam center in Naypyidaw. Because ASEAN is split about this sham election because they saw the numbers and they realize this is a poisonous neighbor. At the moment, Thailand and China is acting against their national interests by embracing this very, very poisonous neighbor. Instead of doing that, they really need to consider that the military junta and the USDP and all of its cronies and organizations are the problem. They are not part of the problem. They are the problem. And it is the resistance that provides a sustainable solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Debbie. And now I think you also talking about another neighboring country. And today, I don't know how you call it, gray election or what. It's also the advanced election. I went to elect and to vote this morning, and you might experience the traffic today, no? And now we have Ajaan Sirada Kemanitha Thai. She will speak about the context of Thailand, and especially the political complexity and the upcoming election. I know some of you have the hot questions to Thailand, but maybe I hope Ajaan is ready. Ajaan.
Hello. Hello, Swadika Mingalabashin, and good afternoon, everyone. So today, actually, like PA said, today actually the day of advance vote for general election. The true general election will be next Sunday on 8th of February, and like we also, of course, a neighbor of Myanmar. So I think why I was invited because we are a close neighbor of Myanmar, and we also part of, not part, we are stakeholders of Myanmar crisis, as I always say in other places. So actually, Myanmar problems, Myanmar crisis, or Myanmar situations really important for Thailand, right? And it is actually, if we really interested in our own national interests, we should more prioritize the issue of Myanmar as a part of our domestic affairs. But now, like Thailand, you guys might know, because many of you here live in Thailand, you understand that we have a lot of instability and complexity in our politics. And also, as well as the ultra-nationalism that's been increasing since 2024. And actually, the Thai-Cambodian conflict really intensifying the sentiment of nationalism in Thailand. It doesn't help anti-Myanmar sentiment at all. It's increased, you know. So I think overall we need to think about the whole structure of the politics, both in Thailand and also the regional, especially, of course, the mainland, Southeast Asia, and even maybe related to the geopolitics as well. So following the dissolution of the House Parliament in December 2025, right, we are in a high stakes transition. You can go next. Okay, and there's the rivalry between People's Party and the Orange Party. You guys might know in the name of Kaw Klai or Move Forward Party. They seek deep structural reform, and the other side is on the screen, Phum Jai Thai Party, representing a pragmatic, conservative, liberal blend, kind of like become the leader of conservative side this day. And of course, we have Pheu Thai Party. Pheu Thai Party, the Red Party, are still strongly competing against these two main parties, while being able to be the kingmaker in the new government. Maybe I think like Pheu Thai Party can be the kingmaker in the new government. At the same time, all conservative parties are also attacking both People's Party and Pheu Thai Party and trying to obstruct their collaboration. So this is why Thailand's political polarizations deepen and make you guys feel more like this is so complicated and complex. Even People's Party right now cannot really touch upon the issue of Myanmar and migrants and refugees openly. So as I say, because Myanmar issue is so important to Thailand, you might expect Myanmar to be topic in our national political campaigns in this election. We share borders, right? And then we are also primary destination for Myanmar displaced people. We share a lot of transnational crimes problem and also even the transnational pollutions, right? But yes, as you see, like as I mentioned, that now the Myanmar issue are not really prioritized in Thailand domestic politics. And even like I will move later. Even like the transnational crimes and transnational pollution really affect Thai people a lot. But many people in Thailand, they don't see it through the lens of like, oh, this is because the issue of political crisis in Myanmar, or how we should tackle to the root of the cause of this crisis in Myanmar. They thought only like, okay, this is the criminal issues, or this is what we have to do from our own capacity, or even in the transboundary pollutions, including haze and the polluted rivers. They are promoted in the political campaign as well, that only through the lens from Thailand. And also if they talk about negotiation, they think about only the Myanmar authorities, meaning the SAC, the military junta, without understanding the complexity inside Myanmar, without understanding the resistance forces. So we are still lack of many knowledge about our own neighbors. So this is the disadvantage that we have, and not only about Myanmar, even Cambodia, we also have too little knowledge about our own neighbors. Many people in Thailand, some of them might think why we need to why Thai people have to concern about Myanmar issue. This is their domestic affairs. We shouldn't interfere the domestic affairs of our neighbors. But actually, criticizing or concerning is not interference. It's our own national interest. It's our own interest of Thai people as well. But some side in Thailand, some political side in Thailand, they try to make us disengage to the stories and to the situations of our own neighbors. So this is what's happening in Thailand for a long time. And as I say, the recent border tensions with Cambodia and the rise of nationalism have made national security a central campaign pillar, often overshadowing humanitarian concern and democracy in the region. And political parties are hyper-aware of a rising tide of ultra-nationalism in Thailand. So to advocate for refugee rights or principled stance against the military regime in Myanmar is often twisted by the opponents as being pro-migrant or even like bringing external affairs into our country. So let's look how our main political parties are handling or ignoring the crisis in their campaigns. I'll go first to the current government, Phum Chai Thai Party. You can see that beside Kun Anutin is also Kun Sihasak, the previous photo. Kun Sihasak is the current foreign minister of Thailand, and he is also very famous talking about Myanmar issue, right? And this party is utilizing nationalism. Next, yeah. This party is utilizing nationalism and the conflict with Cambodia to gain popularity. You can see, next slide, please. You can see how Kun Anutin, the leader and the current prime minister, took photo with at the Thai-Cambodian border, right? And they have the slogan. This is I brought it. I brought it from the official website of Phum Chai Thai. They say like Phum Chai, to be Phum Chai Thai, Phum Chai mean proud, right? And they frame themselves always as the defenders of the border. More than that, they label both People's Party and Pheu Thai Party as not loving nations enough. And their candidate, Kun Sihasak, our current foreign minister, speaks about Myanmar on behalf of him being FM, foreign minister, not really in the political campaign. So their worldview prefers stability at any cost, even if that means working with Myanmar military regime. And here, this is, they didn't, when I try to find their foreign policy, they mostly talk about, protect against intrusions, narcotics, illegal cross-border agricultural products. Yeah, but in generally, they utilize the Thai-Cambodian border for their own popularity. So next would be this Kun Sihasak, right? He made a campaign on the foreign policy of Phum Chai Thai, right? Thai be Thai. Thai here Thai also mean free or independent, right? Thai be Thai on the global stage. And a country strong in foreign affairs is the key to leading the nation through crisis toward long-term stability and dignity. Yeah. And next would be Pheu Thai Party. Pheu Thai Party. Yeah, this is the candidate, Prime Minister candidate of Pheu Thai Party, the three of them. But when we search on the foreign policy of Pheu Thai Party in this political campaign, is like lacks of the high politic issue. They only tackle the low politic issue. Next slide. They focus entirely on economic diplomacy. They see foreign policy only as a tool for trade and investment to fix Thai economy, because this is their slogan, to help boosting Thai economy, and they always say that they can do to help Thai people's well-being. On Myanmar issue, they remain very unsure. They don't mention about Myanmar. But we can look back when Pheu Thai government were in power, right? How they mentioned about peace in Myanmar and border trade, right? Despite quite a top-down perspective, but we could see in the previous government that they try to tackle Myanmar issue as well. But mostly they think about economic diplomacy. Here in their website, they talk about scammers, about narcotics as part of their foreign policy. And next, the last party that I give an example here is People's Party or previously Move Forward Party. We believe that their ideology is seen supporting democracy and human rights, right? And when we go through their list of policies, so next, they have a policy called Security Through Peace in Myanmar. On the right-hand side, Security through Peace in Myanmar, wanting Thailand to lead the peace process in Myanmar. And that even talk about support democracy, Myanmar-led future where Thailand acts as a facilitator for peace and democratic restoration. This time, okay, when we search online, we will see that this policy attached in their official website, calling number 52 from overall 205 policies of People's Party. But this policy hasn't been promoted out loud, just put as part of their policy plan. And no out loud, and mostly overshadowed by domestic politics, military reform, getting rid of grey business and corruption. And now they're very famous on calling out the corruption in Social Security Office of Thailand. And even they also concerned about ultra-nationalism arise from Thai-Cambodian conflict. So now they are in what we can call nationalist trap. They have been attacked by conservative factions for being anti-military during a time of border tension with Cambodia. So to counter the unpatriotic label, so they have to shift their focus to no corruption, no grey business, no scammer, blah, blah, rather than talking about human rights or democracy. So because they also fear being labeled as pro-foreigners, pro-migrant, pro-Burmese, as you can see that they used to be, there has been being targeted, right? And being called like Burmese People's Party or Phak Prachachon Pama. Yeah. Oh yeah. So they're aware of that. And you can see that even some MPs in their party also play along with this sentiment as well. So this is how they're trapped in the nationalism. And we actually, apart from these three main parties, a lot of parties in Thailand, we have multi-party system. And then even like there's some small ultra-nationalist political party that mention about Myanmar migrants as well in their policy, but they're not the mainstream one though, so I won't put up here. And next, I would talk about why is there a lack of principle-based foreign policy in Thailand. Okay, it comes down to two main reasons. First, rising nationalism, and second, political polarization in Thailand. This is why Myanmar missing from the campaign, political campaign, and also the current climate. The topic has been weaponized rather than analyzed. Yeah, they use the topic on Myanmar and Cambodia as weaponized, being weaponized. First, through the rise of ultra-nationalism. So the topic of Myanmar has been used, right? We see ultra-right, far-right social media groups, right? And also the label of Rakchat or Love Nation factions. They're making it politically costly to talk about human rights and transnational solidarity for democracy. So you can see, I go back a little bit to mid-2024, where anti-Myanmar sentiment started and widely spread in late 2024 and early 2025. So at that time, actually both People's Party and Pheu Thai Party were attacked. And then Thai-Cambodian conflict, it distracted sentiment in the mainstream a little bit from anti-Myanmar sentiment, and then the issue has been utilized back again during this time. So Pheu Thai Party also has been the main target for the former close relations with Cambodian elites, while People's Party has been attacked for criticizing Thai military before. So they have to gain like people hard back, right, when the conflict happened in Cambodia. So here in the photo, I already translate for you, right? This has happened in Phitsanulok province. Yeah, you can see that some groups of people, they use the label of selling nation. In Thai we call Khai Chat, selling nation to foreigners, right, to attack both People's Party and Pheu Thai Party. So there is a coordinated attack against these two. And roadside posters, they're not attacking the policy, they're attacking the identities of these two political parties. And label them as pro-Khmer or pro-Burmese to destroy their identity. Consequently, mainstream parties, even those with progressive rules, even the, as I say, People's Party themselves have largely cannot talk much about human rights and Myanmar refugee and Myanmar migrants to avoid being labeled as anti, right? Or they have to talk very much, everything have to link to Thai people well-being, Thai people interests. And also, I'm not sure about the next slide, if I have something. Now also like Phum Chai Thai, yeah, just happened just these few days because People's Party, they attack, criticize the Social Security Office for being mismanagement on the funds. So Phum Chai Thai also can see that, okay, they use the angle that there's a team from the People's Party that used to support the representative from migrant workers to sit in the board, right? So they just used it just yesterday, yeah, and try to intensify this to, how to say, unpopularize the policies of People's Party. You can see this is the example. I brought this from Phum Chai Thai's website. So this is used to against People's Party very much, right? And then linked to migrant workers. And when they think about migrant workers, they stereotype not only Burmese or Khmer, they stereotype everyone together. And next would be the education for all policy. Yeah, even the policy for universal education or entire education for all is also being attacked. Yeah. Opponents argue that Thai tax should only benefit Thai kids, and ignoring that this is actually the policy that will help migrant children to be in the system and also even decrease the instability in Thai society, right? Actually, this policy should be seen as benefit for Thai society, but because everything is being politicized this day due to anti-migrant sentiment, due to the ultra-nationalism. And also lastly, I would talk about extreme polarization. So now we no longer talk about what is the right thing to do or what is the right foreign right policy to do. We more rather to ask, which side are you on? Who are the owner who are talk about this policy? So now we don't think about the principle. We more like, oh, yeah, who we taking side with. Now, so foreign policy is now also a prisoner of our internal instability and political polarization. And this is what I want you guys to understand, the situation in the current situation in Thailand. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ajaan Silada. And we now have already 5 speakers, and so sorry, maybe we don't have second round, but let me open for the floor. Is this okay for only 2 questions, because we also have the next session waiting for us? Maybe 2 questions, and then we will close. You have any hot question? Or okay, one first, another one. Okay, please.
Thank you very much for the presentations. I really appreciate your observation, your analysis, and I also appreciate the efforts taken by the IEC-Karenni, and then we were so proud of your achievements. Of course, it's a very challenging situation, challenging effort in a very unstable environment, facing the attack of airstrikes and artillery shells of the military. Recently, we observed a report published by Karenni Women Organization. It is the evidence-based report on gender-based violation. Of course, it is natural that women needs protection in the midst of the armed conflict. So our organization, I'm Downtown from Institute for Peace and Social Justice, our organization collaborating with the Karenni judiciary sector for strengthening judiciary system and Karenni, and we also conducted evidence-based research on people access to justice and then people participation and the local governance. So we are also willing to collaborate in the future. And I would like to ask your view how IEC intend to set up the legal framework as well as institutional mechanism to protect the women and girls and Karenni.
As I presented in my presentation, in the state level department, we have a Department of Women and Children organization, children departments that taken responsibility on setting up all these legal frameworks. So so far, the department also leading to develop the policy of the to do this kind of protections and also the mechanism among in the current state as well. So and it's on the process, and also the department is going to take the lead to have it. So at the moment, under the IEC, we are still on the process of developing the PSHEA policy and also like China safeguarding policy. We have a zero drafted version, and in that policy, it's also include the legal framework, especially for the women and children to be able to access to the justice, and then the mechanism to have a like kind of complete mechanism, or including all the mechanism to access for all the services, legal services in the current state as well. So it's on the process, and it's also taken into account that IEC is really aware of all these issues are very important, and during this kind of crisis, especially in the current state as well. Thank you for your question, sir. I hope I send your questions.
Thank you very much. May I have the last question, please? มาชีบูเนาะไม่มีนะคะ Yes, please.
I just want to acknowledge Susanna Lalaso, who has been really the most positive voice and face of the NUG, and has been such a hero to all of us. She really embodies what we think of as women's leadership in this movement, just as Maw Poe Myar as well. I just wanted to say something. No one has asked me this question. I'm very tickled that no one has asked me, how long will this go for? You don't care? You still want to go? I think foreigners ask me, how long will this go for? And I have been telling donors and other people, look, I don't care if you rob banks or whatever, you just got to keep the money flowing, and we got to keep up this movement for at least another 2 years. Why do I say 2 years? The Min Aung Hlaing has just bought himself 1 year of honeymoon period through the Sham election. A lot of international community are distracted with world affairs, including what's going on in the US and the ramifications. We already saw that the campaign strategy in Thai politics just copy and paste US style of nationalistic, and so it's going to be like that in the whole world. So everybody will try and use the sham election as an excuse not to do anything. And they will say, give them a year. And after a year, when they realize, oh shit, we're fucked. I will say that because The military junta is actually manufacturing bombs for Putin to use against Ukraine. It's already coordinating and cooperating with Iran. It's going to be like a James Bond movie where they want to be North Korea #2 in order to strengthen their position as a big gangster in this region. So in a year's time, people will say, oh shit, we are fucked. I don't know how you're translating that in Burmese. Because it's gotten worse. And then they're going to have to say, oh, maybe we should have listened to the resistance. And then they're going to say, we better start cutting every bit of support to this military junta and tell them that they are on their own. So in this year, in 2026, please ensure that Beijing knows they are being stupid. We have given Beijing too much intelligence and too much power by the way we address them. And we need to start laughing at Beijing for being stupid. They are focused on all the small fry scam centers in the border. They are executing Chinese crime families who actually were praised by Min Aung Hlaing as helping the development of Myanmar. They should be focused on the main scam center, Naypyidaw. So hang in there. We got to keep this going for 2 more years at least.
Thank you so much, Debbie. And I think that can be our closing speech already. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all honored speakers, ladies and gentlemen. And I would like to invite you again to join our next session. More friends also waiting there. And we also have some special thing for you outside. Please come with us. Don't worry, I will too. Okay, for the